Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
We made it.
We made it back to you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
As always, and we are excited to bring you the scumbag of the week. This week, hope you enjoyed last week's scumbag, Mark Gator Rogowski. Scummy as we promised.
Plenty
right?
of scum.
Plenty of scum. I mean, you don't kill your girlfriend's friend to get back at your girlfriend.
Right.
That's just a dick move.
Like a dirty shower.
Exactly.
Plenty of scum.
We stamp that dick move. We don't like him. So we're moving on this week. Before we tell you about this guy, just have to remind you, please, thank you guys for the reviews on iTunes. Please,
huge.
Get on there, rate, review. It helps us so much. I know it takes like a minute, and you have to like sign in to your thing, and it pops up. Please enter your password, and you're like, God damn, I don't feel like entering my password. Fuck these two idiots. Please, just enter your password. It takes like 30 seconds, and it helps us out so much, and we just love doing this. So please let us know that you're listening. But thank you guys, and here we go. This week's newest inductee into the club, the Crime and Sports Club, is Robert Rozier. Now, I like these stories. I mean, there's all these big stories out there, and we're going to get to Michael Vick, and you know, we're going to get to Aaron Hernandez, and we're going to get to Pistorius, and we're going to get to all these big names. We're going to get to all that stuff. But, like, these are the guys that, like, people go, I know, who's that? I never heard of that
the
guy.
cracks.
But it's the craziest shit.
Yeah.
Like, I like the Sally McNeils, the Bruno DeSouzas. Those guys are like, I never knew that shit. Eddie Johnson, did you know that guy existed? I mean, that's...
Not 100 arrests.
Aren't you happier now that you know? Well, this is one of those guys. He was an NFL player, and we'll get into... He's our most prolific scumbag. He doesn't have 100 arrests like Eddie Johnson, but what he got arrested for,
right?
And the numbers, it's heavy, and we'll get into it, okay? And there's a big thing behind it. This is a deep one, guys. Strap in, buckle up for Robert Ernest Rozier.
I love it.
Okay, he's born in Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh.
Yes, he's not Alaskan, though.
Right.
He's a black dude. He's a giant black dude. He's
From
Alaska. Born July 28th, 1955. His dad is an Air Force guy.
All right.
So they move
That
around
makes
a bit. His college roommate says that, you know, he was like an Air Force brat type of thing.
Elmendorf or some shit in Alaska.
Yeah, he said he comes from a really highly structured family. And they moved to outside of Sacramento to Rancho Cordova, California, was where he grew up. Goes to Cordova High School, where he is a monster on the field.
Oh, I'll bet.
I mean, on the field, he is nasty. He is 6'3", 240 at the time.
Big-ass salmon-fed man.
It's a big salmon-fed guy. He's huge. The town he grows up in, it's a Air Force town. It's a mostly white high school. Not a great student.
Oh.
And this will keep coming up. Shocking.
Not a bright man.
Not a real good student. Right. Doesn't really buckle down well, as we'll see.
Not good with the books.
Not good with anything that takes any kind of work. Actually, one thing he's good at, and we'll get into that later, that's what he went to prison for. So we'll get into that. But in high school, had a 1.32 grade point average, about a D, they said. So he's not doing too well.
Right.
Not great at all. This is the best. Athletic director of the high school, Guy Anderson, said, quote, he wasn't the kind of guy you'd want to take home and meet your daughter. So
hilarious.
That's what the guys in charge of the school think.
Because he can't spell her name.
Yeah, because he wouldn't be able to spell. He's known as a very, very aggressive kind of a guy on the field.
Yeah.
He's real nasty. He's all league, all conference, all Northern California.
Wow.
He's got some combine stats here, not from the combine, but from his, I guess, tryout
college
days or whatever.
Right.
Runs a 4.740, which
pretty solid.
He's a defensive end, so that's not
great.
bad. He benched 375 pounds,
Jesus.
whatever. 20. So, I mean, he's a big, strong, monstrous, scary individual. Never got his diploma in high school.
Surprise.
You are those glasses are hilarious. You look like Elton John right now.
I left my prescription glasses in the car, and I'm wearing prescription sunglasses at the moment.
They're big, and he looks like Elton John, and they're hilarious. They look like they're like the Gloria Vanderbilt collection.
God damn it.
How you doing? Jesus Christ. Okay, back into Robert Rozier, who doesn't wear funny glasses. He didn't get his high school diploma.
All right.
Because he's not real bright.
D average doesn't qualify.
No, and the colleges wanted him athletically.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Oh, you don't have a diploma. You kind of need that.
You don't qualify to go to college,
sir." So he goes to Grays Harbor Junior College in Aberdeen, Washington. Basically, he didn't do anything academically.
What year was this?
This is in the mid 76, I think, 75.
This is before Come As You Are and all the... Aberdeen's where Nirvana's from, right? Or Kurt Cobain is, right?
Yeah, I think he's from there. The coach there, Bud Hake, said they spoon-fed him Mickey Mouse courses. So that's what he was going there for, to get his diploma. Now, they also said...
It's a quality quote.
It's a quality quote. They spoon-fed it, and the other guy doesn't want him to meet his daughter. So these are quality quotes from coaches. I dug deep.
So far, they're painting a very, very elegant picture of this man.
They are. This spans articles that span 20 years. Wow. I found old news. This is like just pieced together.
Right.
There's no real good comprehensive. There's like timelines of the basic shit, but not really deep. So we're going to be the first, like Eddie Johnson here. But here we go. He said, basically, he's in college here. His grades are terrible. The coach, Cake, again, the one who previously said they fed him Mickey Mouse courses, said he ends up going to Cal Berkeley.
Wow.
Which is a great
school.
That's a
fantastic school.
Terrific school.
Yeah.
Really smart kids work really hard to try to get into that school. At this point, there was a coach there named Mike White, who was later fired for recruiting people who don't belong there.
Yeah,
ineligibles, undesirables, as they call them.
People with 1.3 GPAs.
Yes, exactly. And this is what happened here. He got fired later for that. He had no comment on why he recruited him, Rozier, or guys like him. Coach Hake from the junior college said that he got snuck into Berkeley under the radar. Says, quote, he must have had a sugar daddy. Which
some silver-haired white man.
I was going to say, something tells me Mike White is a silver-haired, middle-aged white gentleman.
I like it.
Just a thought, just a guess. I'm not sure.
Jammed 6 of those fellas into a laundry basket and snuck them into the gym.
Good God, probably. That's the sad part.
Like a jailbreak.
So, he ends up being captain, the captain of the team is his roommate at Berkeley. This guy, Ralph Deloach, is his roommate.
All right.
And he said, I was assigned to be Bobby, they all call him Bobby. I was assigned to be Bobby's roommate to keep him clean and out of trouble. We wondered what in the world he was doing there. They were all like, what is this idiot doing here, basically? He is not
can't
smart.
tie his shoes.
He does not fucking belong here. He also said that Rozier was the best athlete on the team.
Really?
Yeah, so he was the best athlete on the team by far.
Wow.
Which, I mean, Berkeley back
Cal,
then. They've revived their athletic program now, but back then.
Those guys with pocket protectors and
back then
somehow could strap on a jock strap.
I don't think they were the most dominant football team going. And Bobby here, Robert Rozier, was real like cocky. He was saying, well, I'm going to take you guys to the Rose Bowl and shit like that. And it's like, no, you're not. But he also said of Bobby, quote, Bobby was the ultimate manipulator. He could tell you bald-faced, straight-out lies, and he knew no one would ever call him on it.
As most sociopaths are.
And he is a sociopath. He felt so academically inferior. Everybody said that. He felt academically inferior because he was. And this is a high-level academic environment.
Education-wise, they're tops, right.
This is no joke. You actually have to go to class. This isn't the University of Cincinnati. Right. You know what I mean?
You're in the science lab somewhere.
You actually have to go to class. So he made a whole kind of persona for himself to make himself feel cool. Yeah. And he called himself, this was his nickname for himself, quote, the Gorilla Pimp.
Oh my God.
So this guy.
Oh my God. Running around white-ass UCal Berkeley as the Gorilla Pimp.
The Gorilla Pimp.
Self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed Gorilla Pimp. And the other guys
awesome.
and picture the guys on the team with him and I was going to school with him, like dorky white guys, like, oh, it's the Gorilla Pimp. That must have been wonderful to hear.
This is my roommate, Bobby the Gorilla Pimp.
This is Bobby. He said that he ended up, Robert Rozier, Deloach said Robert Rozier ended up getting a nice apartment in Oakland.
Yeah.
Partied a lot.
Sure.
Dated a lot of girls.
Yeah.
He said he used weed and cocaine recreationally. It's the late 70s. He wasn't using weed and cocaine recreationally. I mean, probably hanging out with Eddie Johnson at some point.
He's in Oakland in the 70s. There's probably more than
Eddie
one.
was stopping by.
Right. There's probably more than one Gorilla Pimp in Oakland.
Yes, yeah. He was probably a Gorilla Pimp, like 4.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Fourth.
The first 3 come way before me. So he also said he carried a pistol at all times. So he was always he said a ton of parking tickets and shit like that.
In college,
he was once he said he collected parking tickets. So I mean that tells you something. Which, whatever. He said he was once arrested by Sacramento PD for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. But this is during college.
Right.
So, I mean, he could have had a keg and there was a guy that was 20. I mean, who the hell knows what that was? So
collected parking tickets, though. What did they
collected them?
I'll trade you a double park for an expired parking meter. What are you talking about collecting? That's crazy.
Them, put them on the wall in a little frame. Maybe he made art out of them, like a middle-aged woman on Pinterest. He had
he's got a quilt.
He's got a whole Pinterest page. Like, you could make a thing, and now it's a centerpiece.
He's got a throw rug and an
Thanksgiving,
Afghan.
here I come. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I like it.
He had a pit bull that followed him around named Nig.
Oh, my God.
He named it Nig. It became the unofficial team mascot. He would tell people when they would ask about the name, he'd go, just don't say the end of the word.
But feel free to call me Gorilla Pimp.
Yeah, but I'm the Gorilla Pimp. This is my dog, Nig. But don't. And then he'd say,
don't finish it.
Just don't finish it up. That was his quote. Just don't finish it up. Nig eventually was stolen from him somehow. Somebody stole his pit bull named Nig, which seems like a tough pit bull.
Yeah.
Nig the pit bull. That's like, if that was a cartoon character, he would kick
running from that.
Clifford the Big Red Dog's ass. They said Robert actually wept over the loss of Nig.
I'm sure.
And,
I'm sure of that.
That he became real politicized in college, started getting into the African American studies type thing, into the black studies, and started getting very angry at the athletic system, basically. And I don't blame him. Jesus Christ, these guys they put their bodies on the line. They could be crippled and lose their scholarships.
Sure.
I'm very on the side of paying athletes in the NCAA.
Absolutely.
They make enough. Sorry, look at Alabama and their income and tell me that those guys on the lines don't deserve a couple of bucks. But never
Tennessee
mind
and Florida, anywhere, Miami.
They
There's
have
so
their own
many
TV networks. It's fucking ridiculous.
They deserve money.
You can pay Nick Saban $9 million a year.
You can
pay
chip
your
off a few to your line.
Yeah, $130 a week. Give me a fucking break. Anyway, all right. Beyond that, moving on. No degree when he left college, obviously. He wasn't going to graduate from Berkeley, for Christ's sake. Let's be realistic here.
You've got a dog that you named Nig, so that's it. You're out.
We are not granting the Gorilla Pimp. No. He's not going to be the valedictorian. So,
that would be a fantastic diploma to put on your wall in your office.
Robert, the Gorilla Pimp from Berkeley. That'd be wonderful. That's like West Coast Ivy League, basically, but you're not. So
he's got a degree in communications for.
He moves on. He gets drafted in the NFL here.
No kidding.
And this is the very short career. Yeah. Okay, he's drafted in the 9th round, which there's only 7 rounds now.
Right.
But back then I think it was 17 or some crazy 18. Guys used to get drafted in the 16th round all the time.
So they get him deep in the draft.
So, 228th overall in 1979 by the St. Louis Cardinals, who are now the Arizona Cardinals, unfortunately for all concerned.
Yeah.
He's on the team for 6 games during the regular season. He plays in 2 games out of the 6 games.
He makes it half a season.
It's said that he's released because of drug issues. Coach Bud Wilkinson said, quote, I don't remember why I waived him in 1985. I don't know what the hell's wrong with the guy.
That's a very memorable man.
Cardinals didn't do a background check on him, which is hilarious also. They could have just asked the Deloach guy, hey, what do you think of him? He would have went, well, he calls himself the Gorilla Pimp, and he's the biggest manipulator I've ever met
and he
in my
just
life.
had a dog stolen named Nig.
Yeah, his dog's name is Nig. I don't know if you want to have him hanging around. He's a pit bull. And the Cardinals, this is how this franchise has been historically.
Yeah.
Now they're good lately, but historically terrible. And including then, and they drafted him in the 9th round, but after him in the draft, they could have also got Drew Hill, the wide receiver for the Oilers and Rams.
He's now dead, by the way.
Is Drew Hill dead?
He died.
He did die, yeah. But I mean, he was in the league for 13
for
years
a long
and a
time.
good receiver.
Yeah.
Could have had Dwight Clark of the 49, the one who made the catch against the Cowboys in 80. Yeah, they could have had him in the 10th round, in the next round, top of the 10th. But no, we'll take fucking the Gorilla Pimp instead. So he lasts very short. He's gone out of the league in 6 games. This will come up later. Remember the number 6, please. 6, because it's going to be funny later. Tries to go to Canada, where he just runs into legal troubles.
Oh, boy.
This is when legal troubles really start.
No visa or some shit.
You start to see a pattern emerge
What do you
here.
mean I can't just come into the country?
Start to see a pattern emerge that comes back to bite him later.
Oh,
He plays for the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That's at the time when they had two teams named the Rough Riders, which is amazing. He played for one Rough Riders. Royal Canadian Mounted Police Sergeant Gary Proctor. So you know you're getting into the heart of the story when I start quoting police sources. And Royal Canadian Mounted Police Sergeants. You know stuff's going to get good right now. He said the whole time he was playing ball here, he was writing phony checks.
Oh my God!
And this comes back later. This is not his main crime, by the way.
You're telling me that somebody with a 1.3 GPA doesn't know how to balance a check?
No, amazing, right? He tries to hang out with this guy Harley Deeks, who's the president of Molson's Brewery in Alberta. So that's probably like being like president of the province at that point. That's like governor
Harley,
if you run the Molson
Brewery.
Right. They probably, so he
Molson and Labatt, right? Those are the two the big ones?
Yeah, I think. Now, Canadians are going to be pissed off. Right. We don't fucking know. Right. You probably have a beer that is like a local thing for you guys that's better. I'm sure it's there. Please
don't call us Bud Light drinkers either.
Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck. I don't care anyway. So anyway, he hangs out, goes deer hunting with this fella, Harley Deeks fella. Right. Rozier goes deer hunting with him one time, and then tried to use his name to get a bank loan.
Holy shit.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, Harley Deeks here said he was running a scam. He used my name to get a bank loan. He was running up huge bills and charging the whole mess to the football team.
All you need in Canada is just the name to get credit cards?
Well,
that's
he runs
awesome.
The Molson Brewery.
Oh, yeah.
That's like
that
saying,
sense.
Barack Obama's my brother and he'll vouch for me. Like I
figured Harley was a smaller white man. That's crazy that you're here.
Maybe,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
A giant black man shows up and goes, I'm Harley, the head of Molson.
Harley's my friend. Right. This is my dog, Nig. Just write the check out to Gorilla Pimp. So it's odd, but they gave him the money. He said he used my name to get a bank loan.
That's amazing.
He tried to get a bank loan.
So amazing.
And he said he's charging all this shit to the football team, writing phony checks on behalf of the team. I don't know what the hell this guy's doing. He's a disaster. He starts to get religious, which is the main issue of this whole thing here. But not like at a football banquet up there. He gets real upset when nobody says grace. It's like a big banquet setting. So he says, I'm going to say grace, and he says grace because he's gigantic, and everyone was like, if he wants to say grace...
Somebody let the Gorilla Pimp speak.
If the Gorilla Pimp wants to say grace, he's going to say grace. He leaves Canada in disgrace here. He is signed by the Raiders, fittingly enough, of course. Who would sign you after you've been booted from the NFL after only 6 games? You're in Canada floating bad checks and getting bank loans under faulty names.
What football team would hire a criminal?
It's the Raiders. And he's such a fuck up that he's cut by the Raiders after 2 weeks of training camp.
2 weeks, and Al Davis says, get the fuck out of here.
That guy is a bad influence.
We will not address you as Gorilla
Lyle Alzado. That's how fucking crazy he was. Like, he's a bad influence on Matuzik, so we need to get him out of here. Insane. So, post-football, he just falls apart, obviously. That's all he's ever been good at is football. Everything else, he's a mess. He's bad at school. He's apparently bad at parking. Things are not good. So, he goes... Post-football
Worse at naming dogs.
It's terrible at naming dogs. Good at nicknames, though, for himself. I will say that, because I would love to be called the Gorilla Pimp. That'd be amazing. Imagine you're such a big, imposing figure that you say, my name's the Gorilla Pimp, and people go, okay.
Sounds right.
I'll call you okay, Gorilla Pimp. Like, if you told me to call you the Gorilla Pimp, I'd be like, fuck you. I'm not calling you the Gorilla Pimp.
Mind.
But if you were enormous, I'd say, Gorilla Pimp? Yes, sir. Mr. Pimp. So... he drifts around the country, passing bad checks all over the place. He's wanted in several areas for bad checks, forgery. Serves a 6-month jail stint at some point in there in Florida. And now at this point, he finds the Temple of Love.
Yeah.
Now here's where shit gets deep, guys, and I have to preface this right away. Okay, the Temple of Love, the Yahweh cult, as it's known. I started this research. I'm like, hey, cool. This is a crazy story. This guy did horrible things. I'm going to find out more. Let's do a story about him, right? Sounds easy and fun and delving in. I didn't know I was going to have to do just hours of cult research to figure out what the fuck these people are all about and why this all happened.
Yeah.
But now I am fully versed in the Yahweh cult. So let's get into some cult shit, why don't we? The Yahweh cult, first of all, before we get into his involvement in the Yahweh cult, let me give you an overview of the Yahweh cult. Yahweh is the guy. Yahweh means God, son of God.
Yes.
This is a guy that called himself Yahweh ben Yahweh. So God, son of God, Ben, God, son of God was his fucking name, which is repetitive and stupid as shit, first of all. By the way, we probably will be killed for doing this, by the way. I'm not fucking around. As we hear later on, we are not going to be popular with these people for this. Or the other thing is, when you're researching, this is a black religion too.
Okay.
It's all black. It's about, the whole point of it is he's saying that black people are like the lost tribe of Israel, and they're the Jews of the Bible, and that's this religion's whole point, and that he says the white people are white devils, and the blacks are the chosen people, and he's been saying that white people have been lying to black people about God to enslave them.
Right.
And, that's their whole deal. So when you delve into a cult like this on the internet, you're going to come across a lot of legitimate journalism on it, of course, because you're dealing with like a news situation. A cult, this was a big deal. They killed a lot of people, this cult. You're also going to deal with just fucking oodles of white supremacist insanity. So every fucking website, I don't know, I'm not a white supremacist. I don't know white supremacist websites.
Right.
So every website, I would start to read one and I'm like, this is really like, who wrote this? Like, what kind of a fucking journalist? And then I'd look up, what is this? And I'd be like, oh my God, this is a white supremacist website. Holy shit, now I'm on a watch list. What the fuck?
And they're everywhere too. There are more of them than you know. Then you're shocking.
If
how
you
many
look
there are.
up this shit, it's half of that shit being like, talking about this is proof that black people are. It's fucking insane. So I had to to ascertain which legitimate journalists and which of this is, because I don't want to quote white supremacy literature to you guys.
And if you do Google it and look things up like this, you will have no surprise at all why Donald Trump is doing well in the polls.
Yeah, because people are there's a lot of racist lunatics out there that are like super racist. Not just like your aunt racist.
Right.
They're like fucking like insane. Like these websites are crazy, which I knew it existed, but I just didn't realize I was going to be dealing knee deep in the shit with this. So anyway, the Yahweh guy, Yahweh ben Yahweh, he grew up in Oklahoma. His dad was a Pentecostal preacher, which that's what this fucking causes, basically, obviously. He oh my God, how do I even get into this? He's like a Jim Jones type, basically. It's a Jim Jones situation. It starts out simple enough. It's a church. Hey guys, let's help out the community. Yeah. And they would people would come in, poor people, and they would give them food, and they would go into neighborhoods and talk to the drug dealers and the kids and the drug people and get drug dealers to be religious instead of dealing drugs. And they were kind of doing the bean pie, bow tie Muslim type thing, but in a different way. They have the long white robes that they get later. They're those people with the long white robes
and big caps.
And so. Yeah, they're these type of people. So, I mean, it starts out simple, and then this Yahweh ben Yahweh lunatic, he starts really getting high and mighty to Jim Jones, starts having sex with all the women.
Oh, boy.
Everybody has to give all their possessions over immediately. It's Yulon Mitchell Jr. is Yahweh ben Yahweh. That's his real name. Old Yulon Jr. here, Mitchell Jr. He
carrying on the legacy of somebody.
Yeah,
ruining it.
He meets Robert Rozier at some point, and a bad partnership is struck because he sees this Rozier guy as, holy shit, this guy's enormous.
Some muscle. Yeah,
he's some muscle, and that's if you need an enforcer type guy,
it's beneficial.
I might be able to use this guy.
That's my doorman for my church.
Yeah, and he works hard. He works in the temple. They clean shit. They stock the warehouse. They do all this shit. So these guys all work hard. They're putting out materials. They're putting out pamphlets and flyers and shit,
propaganda
by the name of. These are funny names, by the way. These are really funny. Can I protect my child from Whitey's evil influence? Which is Whitey's evil influence.
How do you take that seriously when somebody goes, "Please read about the Lord"? What the fuck,
Whitey? And then it says, "White Americans are kidnappers and terrorists" on the one. Which is partially true, I guess, but But Can I Protect My Child from Whitey's Evil Influence is my favorite title of
I want that framed on my wall.
anything.
In my White House.
Oh, my God. Don't you, though? Along with your parking ticket
I want
collage?
my kids to ask me questions about that.
Oh, my God.
Are we protected, Dad? That's so great.
There was a police beating in Miami of Arthur McDuffie. This guy, he was I think a motorist. And they used this as like a catalyst to try to start riots and shit like that, too, to stir up anti-white fervor. It was like a Rodney King situation, except really pointed at like, we can use this to our advantage. So anyway,
start a race war? Is that their goal? Jesus.
Their goal is, they want to get. I suppose I don't know what their fucking goal is.
It seems like most cults, that's like what they want to do. I mean, Manson,
but
this guy.
In reality, though, this guy really just wants to dominate people, make a shitload of money, and have sex with underage girls, basically, and people's wives and shit.
Right.
That seems to be the crux of what's going on here. Right. That might have been the beginnings of it. But then...
That's the way it always turns out.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely, my friend. You know, it's just the way it fucking is. So Robert Rozier changes his name to Neriah Israel, which means child of God.
And abandoned fucking Gorilla Pimp?
I was going to say,
what an asshole.
What is Gorilla Pimp been translated into this language? He should have used that.
That would have been amazing.
Oh, that's where you go.
So great.
That's where you go with this. But, this whole thing, holy shit, this gets crazy, man. This gets so nuts. Basically, this is a quote from Yahweh here. He says, "If you reject my decrees and abhor my laws and fail to carry out all my commands and so violate my covenant, then I will do this to you. I will bring upon you sudden terror, wasting diseases, fever that will destroy your sight and drain away your life."
Oh, my God.
This is to his followers, what he's telling them, not to the infidels or whatever the
fuck.
That's
like what I would say
followers.
That's like what I'd say to my kid when he doesn't take out the trash.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like he does something terrible and you threaten him. That's not like a greeting.
No, this is what he's telling you, and they're like, "Yeah, this sounds good. I'm going to give this guy all my stuff."
I like the way you're talking, man. Keep going.
Keep going. I'm listening. What's that?
You piqued my interest.
Yeah, okay, all right. Let's see here. What can you do anything about parking tickets? I got a lot of them. So he's it gets really bad here. Basically, to just cut through it here, some members start putting out flyers against the cult. Some of the members start going, "Hey, what the fuck?" And they start gathering off campus, and they start like, putting out little anti-Yahweh materials and giving them to the cult people. So this is bad.
Did you hear that shit about Yahweh telling us to give him everything?
Yeah, I don't know about that. He had sex with Tommy's wife. That's messed up, dude. I don't think that's cool. So basically, Yahweh had to get a circle around him of his enforcers, and it was called the Circle of 10. And these people were to keep an eye on the followers. They carried around machetes and clubs with them, walking around the temple, marching around the temple. And so, they were scary. They were trying to say,
is it nine plus Bobby? Is that what it is?
It's not yet. Bobby's not in this yet, but he's looking at these guys like, like
those
a little kid sitting on the side of like the park basketball going, "I wish I could dunk someday."
Those are the starters, and he wants in the game.
He wants in the fucking game. So they end up killing one of these guys. I don't think Robert Rozier was not involved in this, but this shows you how serious these guys were. This was a cult member that left and then kept hanging around, talking to his friends and shit. 26-year-old guy named Aston Green. He visited the temple and then left, and then they beat him and stomped him and knocked him, within an inch of his life. Yeah. Took him out in a trunk of a car out to a rock quarry, drug him out to a rock, laid him down, and cut his head off.
Wow.
Yeah, against his protestations,
I'm
from
sure.
what I understand. Also, they said.
Please don't.
It said
they took his head off.
They took his head off, and it's this particular murder. The guy's blade was very dull. He said it took about 25 hacks to get it going. And this was the thing. Yahweh wanted, when he told you to kill somebody, when you killed a guy in sacrifice to Yahweh, you had to take a part to bring back to him to show you did it.
Wow.
That was the thing. So it was
like the original ISIS.
So that's basically kind of except it was like a Christian version. Because this is like a Christian religion too. They go off the Bible. Right. It's fucking nuts. They just translate it, which the Bible's nuts too, but it's just translated into their own nutty fucking definition. He continues to kill dissenters, blah, 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 blah. At this point, shit's going crazy. You don't fuck with Yahweh. If you're in the cult, you're in the goddamn cult. I mean, if you want to leave, you better run, basically, because they're going to come mess you up otherwise. So he forms a secret group because he can't even trust his circle of 10 now. So he forms a secret group called the Brotherhood. Okay? They're the Death Angels, as they're called. This secret group, Rozier wants to be in this group bad, right? They all carry around same 12-inch Japanese knife with them, right? This crazy long dagger blade. Okay? And between April and October of 86, they go into Miami to kill white people. That's how you had to prove yourself to Yahweh to be in this little group, was go out and kill white people. And he said, any old white devil will do. Was Yahweh's thing. He don't give a shit who you kill. Go out and kill somebody.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, it gets fucking interesting. So, yeah, they have to bring back a body part.
This is a man that used to play in the NFL.
He played in the...
This man had the...
At one point, he went to Cal Berkeley. He could have had a great diploma, played football, and then afterwards had an amazing career and been sitting around going to Hall of Fame banquets every year and hanging out with his friends. It's the same thing I said about Jason Williams. Right. This guy could have had the same life. Even if he wasn't a Hall of Fame player, he could have had a wonderful life with a great diploma and a nice family.
And instead he's... Go to Miami and kill the white devil. That's what your coach would say if you're playing for the Raiders and you're playing the Dolphins. That's what he's going to tell you.
Yeah,
go rip somebody's head off. This guy really wants you to cut somebody's head off. That's
he wants heads.
Yeah,
this guy.
This is the path he took.
He wants a part. He doesn't get a head, a finger, an ear. An ear comes up big.
Bring an eyelid.
This is big with the ear. So we get to April 19th, 1986. Robert Rozier goes to Coconut Grove to find a white guy to kill. Right. It's a gay neighborhood at the time, Coconut Grove. I don't know if it still is. I don't know shit about Miami, but time, gay neighborhood.
All right.
He's following around groups of people looking for somebody who's, vulnerable, an easy target, obviously. You're not going to, whatever. He spots a lone guy kind of stumbling, a little drunk, and he's like, this is my guy.
That's the guy.
Found a white dude, right? Now, first of all, I would assume for a gay, like a Christian black religious cult, this is like jackpot. A gay white guy, that's fucking behind the arc. Three-pointer, swish. You know what I mean?
And he's drunk, his blood's
That's the
thin.
one, man. I mean, that's the one they want you to kill. Like, you kill, wow. I
and
mean,
he's going to bleed out fast.
Yeah, so he follows this dude, follows him all the way to his apartment. When he goes to open his door, he bum rushes him in the door, stabs him up, good in the apartment, stabs him in the heart, actually, hits the heart, kills him. Wow. There's another guy there, I don't know, his roommate or whatever, kills him too, another white guy, so he kills him too. And then he says, shit, I want to take the heads. He says later, I wanted to take the heads, but Plural. I thought, how the hell am I going to get the heads out of the house and walk all the way back to my car with these heads?
Right.
Well, I mean, I can't do that. There's two heads. Shit, this is going to be
carry
rough.
him like 6 packs down the street.
I'll just take the bloody knife to Yahweh and show him. So he took the bloody knife to Yahweh. Yahweh said, good job. Next time they'll get a part. I mean, what are we, fucking amateurs?
Bring
here?
me something.
Yeah, what are you doing with over here, right? The guys he killed were Glendon Fowler and Kurt Dorr. That was their names, these poor bastards. Didn't get any body parts on that one, but he makes up for this, though, okay? Makes up for this on September 6th, 1986. Rozier and a guy named Carl Douglas Perry, they find a guy sleeping in the backseat of his car in an alley next to a bar.
Yeah.
Okay, he's just asleep in the car, and he's
that.
a white guy, and they're like, we just stab him, right? Yeah. He's easy, he's asleep, easy
he ain't
target.
gonna move.
Stab the shit out of this guy, and cut his ear off. They drop the ear. It's pitch black in this. This is the time when you really could use like iPhone flashlights. Yeah. That would really be helpful here because they're looking for an ear in an alley and they can't find it. They're like, shit, what are we going to do? I guess cut the other ear off and take that. They just left that ear behind. The cops ended up finding the ear later on, and they're like, well, we found one ear, but the other ear is still missing.
Abandon the ear.
So they take the ear back. Stabbed him good. His guy was named Raymond Kelly.
And now there are 3 bodies in his wake.
So now he's got 3 bodies. They take the ear back to Yahweh. Yahweh's thrilled.
Yeah.
He's like, good job,
Over
guys.
the moon.
So happy, gives them the next day off from temple duties. They went and saw the movie Aliens. Good for them. Imagine them sitting there and they're like, they're feeling good. You
get a day off.
Our reward, let's go watch Sigourney Weaver. That sounds good. How about that? Let's go watch a sequel to a great movie that's not so good. So then the 20th, this is like 3 weeks later, the 20th of September 1986, Robert and Ernest James and Dexter Leon Grant, they kill a guy named Cecil Branch. And Cecil Branch is a cult member that went a little astray. And so now, and they cut his ear off too. And the cops are finding white people with their ears cut off.
Right.
So they're thinking it's a serial killer who's got a specific profile, victim profile.
Oh, wow.
And then they find a black guy with an ear, and they're like, there's a fucking black guy now. Now what the hell do we do? This isn't the same guy. Now what the hell's going on, right? So they're confused as shit about this. They bring the ear of Cecil Branch back to Yahweh. Yahweh uses it as a trophy to everybody. I assume when he's giving these fiery speeches, threatening death and pestilence upon them and shit.
I'm not playing.
And so now all these people are dead. There's also, right before he gets caught here, there's two men. They own an apartment complex. They're buying up property. This is what these cults do. They're buying up apartment complexes, kicking out all the residents. They're gentrifying. Yeah, this is what they're doing. Yeah. And they're kicking out black poor residents too. Thanks for helping. Yeah, you know what I mean. Good job with the community. But this is like, and then they're publicly too. They're going around saying how they're doing good deeds. They're cleaning up the projects. They're getting these drug dealers out of there, and they're also forcibly forcing people out of their apartments. And there was a couple of guys, one guy specifically, I think his name was Anthony Brown, was a resident of the apartment. He was just a young dude, and they were interviewing him on the news. He's like, man, I ain't leaving shit. Fuck. He was like, I'm not leaving. I don't care what they say. They need to evict me. Blah, blah, blah. I ain't seen no eviction notice. Yeah. So he was like, I'm not leaving. And he was just like, screw that. He didn't realize he was dealing with these people because Rozier and a couple other guys came to their apartment and shot him and his friend and killed them. Wow. So police arrive on the scene. They flee. Okay. Robert Rozier thinks he's home. He jumps out of a car, goes and runs in some bushes, thinks he's home free at this point, starts taking a leak, pulls his pants down, starts taking a leak. Yeah. Cops bust him. Yeah. He's caught with his dick out. Yeah. And after he just murdered a couple of people.
You see that giant gorilla pimp with his dick out?
Yeah, well, he turned around, oh shit, with his dick in. So it was not a cool deal for him. He's found with his dick out, which is amazing. Now, at this point, they take him into custody, and he's arrested. Yeah. And so there's all these people dead. This guy's arrested, and you would think, like, I feel terrible for all these people. This poor guy just wanted his apartment. Yeah. The poor guy sleeping one off in the back of his car, for Christ's sake. And I feel so bad for them, but I don't feel as bad for them as I feel for Robert Rozier from LinkedIn, a healthcare attorney at Baker and Hostetler LLP, specializing in strategic planning and clinical research compliant in the greater Atlantic area. That guy I feel bad for because you're going to look him up. He's on page 2. Also, Robert Rozier, senior lecturer at Hans University of Applied Sciences in Groningen, the Netherlands. This poor bastard.
Holy shit.
Another one's a division seed manager in crop production services in Prosperity, South Carolina. These poor bastards. Because I found them looking for Robert Rozier. So you might be a cult murderer if you're a seed. Oh, these poor bastards. So anyway, he also too. The guy I really feel the worst for is poor Robert Rozier, that works for the street and sewer department for the city of Corcoran, Georgia. That guy, that poor bastard, because he's black too. I really feel for him. People might go, is that him?
Is that him?
Yeah. Anyway, so he's arrested clearly for this. This is Halloween night, 1986. He's arrested. At first, he won't give him shit. He just says, "My name's Nariah Israel. I don't know shit about shit," and he's quoting him Bible verses. That's all he'll give him. So they run his prints and do all that, and they go, "Oh, this guy who was arrested before because he did the 6-month stint earlier.
You're the bad check dude.
Oh, you're the bad check guy, Robert Rozier, the ex-football player. Okay, we know you.
Hilarious.
So at that point, he says, "Oh, really? Okay, well then, I killed 7 people." He confesses to 7 murders at this point. They said he broke down. He cried about it, and he was like, yeah, I killed 7 people. And then after that, they just said the rest of the time he was just completely deadpan about everything for the rest of everything.
Unbelievable.
He confesses to 7 murders. He gets the Sammy the Bull treatment. The FBI has been investigating this Yahweh cult for racketeering, RICO shit, murder. They're doing like a mob investigation, basically. They're like a gang. They're looking at him like a criminal business enterprise.
They connected the dots and ears.
So, yeah, exactly. So now they're connecting murders to them also, in addition to all this financial shit. Things are getting deep. So they want him to testify against them. So they offer him a deal. They offer him a 22-year deal to testify. 7 murders, of which he does 10 years of the 22. Wow. This guy has more murders than NFL games played. That's his stat sheet. Games played 6, murder 7.
That is awesome.
He's the first guy we've ever had that has more
murders.
Whatever. It's amazing. Yeah. I'm proud to present you guys this with all this murder.
That's amazing.
He has killed as many people as all the people we've done so far put together.
Holy shit.
Isn't that awesome? He's like a Voltron of Jason Williams, Ray Carruth, Bruno DeSouza, Lawrence Phillips, Jimmy Snuka's the arm.
He's got all of their murders.
Sally McNeil's
wrapped into one.
Wrapped into one. So, yeah, he does 10 years for this.
And he gets 10 years.
Well, he gets 22. He does 10. There's more cases pending also going on. It's insane. Basically,
that's a breakdown of our system. I mean, granted, we get him to testify.
Yeah.
10 years.
It gets deeper.
Unbelievable.
He is in prison, and the federal government finally arrests Yahweh in '89. Yahweh Ben Yahweh. They arrest him, Hulan Mitchell Jr., let's call him. They arrest old fucking Hulan Jr., and they have Robert Rozier as their star witness. He's the Sammy the Bull. He's got to go into court, and like he fingered John Gotti and said he told me to do it. And he goes in and testifies to the murders that were done at his behest. By the way, Rozier says he did 6 of the murders for Yahweh, and the 7th was a panhandler who just annoyed him. He said he annoyed him. He persistently kept asking for money and cigarettes, and he said, I just killed him and threw him in the water.
I have the same guy ask me for money every day at I-17 in Peoria, and I have not murdered him yet.
If you were Robert Rozier, you'd, quote, kill him and throw him in the water.
There's a canal right there.
That's what he did. Well, there you go. Talk to Robert Rozier. He'll be in prison. We'll get to his prison. But at this point, Yahweh hires a publicist. Hires a fucking publicist, like a comedian who told a rape joke at an inopportune time. What an asshole!
Like a rapper.
He hires a publicist. He joins the Chamber of Commerce, which must have been fucking hilarious. Bearded black guy in a long robe and a hat, hanging out with a bunch of like 63-year-old fucking Rotary Club rejects. So. He hires that. He saying he's cleaned up neighborhoods. He's doing all this. Weeks before his arrest, Miami Mayor Javier Suarez honors him with Yahweh Ben Yahweh Day.
Holy shit.
All fucking day.
He has a whole day.
You know there was a podium and a key to the city was given? You know it.
There was a cake.
You know there was a cake with his picture on it, and like Jesus is a black guy. It was amazing. And
and 2 weeks later he's arrested.
2 weeks later he's arrested. 1992 is the trial. Rozier is the star of the trial. It's in Fort Lauderdale Federal Court down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. There's varying reports from different articles between 15 and 16 co-defendants. Yahweh and between 13 and 14 others. All but 2 of them wore the whole white robe deal into court, like the Manson family, basically. They did the whole Manson family thing where they showed a united front, which didn't work for the fucking Manson family. They're all in prison still. Except for, what's her name, just got out.
Yeah, what was her name? Did she get like a...
Just Leslie Van Houten just got out.
She got like because she's going to die, that release?
I don't know. They've been in there for like 40 years already. They're like old ladies.
Right.
You know, at this point. What are we afraid that 68-year-old ladies are going to come stab us? If you can't fend off a 68-year-old lady,
you deserve to die.
You deserve to die for Charles Manson at this point, assholes. Anyway, maybe they'd kill other 68-year-old ladies. That's possible.
That's a good point.
They'd track down 68-year-old pregnant movie stars if they existed. Find them. So, Rozier testifies against all these people. Charges were from murder, conspiracy, RICO charges, firebombing, because they said they firebombed a neighborhood that they were trying to clear the people out of.
What was going on in the world that this was not headline news?
This is Miami, mid-'80s. There was also drug wars. There was
in
literally...
'92, the trial starts, though. And
Rodney King's going on across the country. The LA riots, 94, 84. But I mean, the riots. I don't know why this wasn't bigger news.
This should have been huge.
Big news, but you'd think it would be bigger.
Court TV wasn't around yet.
Yeah, it was. That's the other thing too. This is CNN just had got started, so this is before the 24-hour news cycle.
God, this would have been a monster today.
Today, this would have been big for like a day and a half. It would have been the biggest thing in the world, and then it would have been hacky, and no one could make jokes about it anymore. So Rozier's quote on the stand, he said, "We did everything from driving a bus to killing someone if necessary. Beating, hanging, burning, stoning, decapitation, whatever." That's a hell of a quote right there. That is in their own words.
Yeah.
If I ever fucking heard it right there. He keeps going on. Yahweh calls Rozier a serial killer and said that he led a small group of rogue murderers that acted on their own. Which I don't know why they'd be cutting their ears off and giving them to him,
right?
Which he seems to have an ear thing. Right. So I'm going to believe Rozier on this one. Rozier here, district attorney, who was asked by the Assistant U.S. District Attorney Trudy Novick on the stand, how many people have you killed or helped kill? Rozier said 7. 6 of them were at the orders of Yahweh, and the 7th was a panhandler that annoyed me. That was the one. He just says that right in court.
He just blurts that out in court.
He said, I ended up killing him and throwing him in the water. Deadpan in court. He had a long braid coming out of the side of his head. That was his hairstyle that he chose for court.
That appears to be a lunatic.
Like a Michael Jackson style choice of court attire. Recalled several other killings, stabbing, shootings that he knew of, that he saw, that he was there for, but he didn't do himself. Random white people, blacks that pissed off Yahweh, fucking 7-Eleven.
Just a trail of death.
Clerk that wasn't friendly enough. It's insane. Yahweh's sister says that he raped her back in Oklahoma when they were kids, and he molested his daughters and had sex with other cult members, and there was cult members testifying that he would have sex with their wives, and he would basically run this like a his own little harem.
This is what happens when the pool of middle-aged silver-haired white men runs out.
It runs out. Yahweh needed one. He needed one at some point in his life.
Yahweh and Rozier, they both needed one.
Rozier, or actually, but Rozier. God damn, he could. Yeah, where was Mike White?
They ran out. The faucet was turned off.
My God. So spectators they're kicking people out of the court because they're like gagging from the tales of dismemberment.
I can imagine.
Because they're talking about hacking people up, and this tale I said like the 25 hacks. This is the type of shit they're talking about in court. So people are freaking the fuck out. Regular court observers, They had Rozier was under cross-examination for 3 days.
Wow.
Defense said that he'd do anything to avoid the electric chair, and there was no physical evidence to corroborate his testimony. Blah blah blah. The defense said, remember, because of his deal with the government, he's basically going to do 11 years in prison for 7 homicides, which is true.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely true, but that doesn't seem to matter. The Yahweh on the stand in this trial. He took the stand. Like most of them took the stand.
Holy shit!
Most of them took the stand. They asked him to identify himself. He claimed he was, quote, the Grand Master of the Celestial Lodge, the architect of the universe. That is some kind of business card right there, huh?
That's incredible.
Put that on your fucking business card. That's a hell of a title,
card.
That's ballsy. That's
awesome.
Some kind of handle right there, boy. So anyway, it turns out this jury, I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but only half were acquitted. Half are acquitted, half are convicted.
Yeah.
And none of the murders, they're only convicted on conspiracy charges.
Unbelievable.
Conspiracy, business, money shit, basically.
Meanwhile, bodies are turning up.
All over the place.
Unbelievable.
Everyone's sentenced to like 14, 16 years. Mitchell gets, the old Hulan Jr. here, Yahweh, gets the most time of any of these people.
Thank God.
He ends up with 18 years.
Wow.
Which doesn't seem like a lot for all the shit he did. He's released in August of 2001 after only serving a little over 10 years.
He's out.
He's out.
Unbelievable.
They're in Canada now.
Wow.
They're calling it their new promised land. They had a big conference after his release in Canada. They're still recruiting. If you're interested, YahwehBenYahweh.com is where you go to sign up. I'm not shitting you. If you go to that, you'll get that. You'll also see about 18 white supremacist sites. If you
He's out, and Twitter is out. Is it? I want to look him up on Twitter. Is it?
He's got to be tweeting.
With that long ass title.
I'm probably YahwehBenYahweh.com.
All he gets to say, only letters left. He's got 2 left. He just gets to say hi every day.
And they say some nasty shit about Rozier on that website. They do not like Robert Rozier on this website. Now, Robert Rozier, he's released from prison. This is when it gets really interesting, okay, guys? He's killed over half a dozen people at this point. He's only played 6 NFL games. He's played in 2. He's been on the sideline in a uniform, drinking the team Gatorade for 6 games.
High-fiving after good plays.
Yeah, good kick, man. That's good. Good job. Hey, nice job. Patting
Quick
people
smack on the ass.
Yeah. His helmet didn't even get smelly on the inside. That's how little he played.
There might be a scuff.
Maybe. So he is 1996. He's released from prison.
Unbelievable.
So now he's out. He's sent into the federal witness protection program because the Yahweh people, never mind the judgment and the verdict, there's some scary folks that have killed a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So he's a little concerned. That was part of his deal. They give him a new name, Robert Rameses. Rameses.
Wow.
Ramses. Stupidest fucking name you could ever give. Give someone a name that they can pronounce,
right.
at least.
He can't even spell that.
You could pick any name.
Yeah.
Any name.
1.3 GPA, you guys.
I bet you anything he suggested Gorilla Pimp, and they were like, "We can't. You're official."
They know that
They
one.
know that one. First of all, second of all, no, you can't name yourself. No, the N-word is not a name. I'm sorry. So he comes out. He's hanging out in Sacramento. It was like his hometown. First of all, way to hide, asshole. First of all, I mean, yes, your last name is different. It still starts with an R.
Right.
Your first name's Robert, and
You're still going by Bobby.
You're a gigantic guy that goes by the name the Gorilla Pimp. Like people know who you are.
Right.
Like, so
you aren't
anyway,
hiding.
He's not hiding.
No.
Plain sight takes us to another level. He owns an auto detailing business.
All right.
He dabbled in some web design, which I would love to see this guy on a computer going like,
MySpace is not web design, Robert.
You think this background look better like this or like that? Like he's got a 1.32 GPA. He's trying to put together fucking web design.
He's coding shit.
He's coding. That's amazing. He's like, I don't like this HTML shit. That ain't no good. I like other platforms. Ridiculous. So this guy, and he also said he helped raise 2 kids, which I don't know what that means. If he had fucking some girlfriend's kids or sister's kids. He helped raise 2 kids. Says he fears for his life the whole time. U.S. Attorney Richard Scruggs said that about Rozier, quote, he is probably their most hated enemy. He is their Judas, their enemy number 1. So he's under some heat, right?
Yeah.
So what would you do if you were under this kind of heat? You'd want to lay low and
Yeah,
stay out of trouble
absolutely.
and just kind of stay out of
Pay
everything.
your bills and be quiet.
He doesn't do that.
No.
What he does instead is he starts writing bad checks.
Again.
He starts writing bad fucking checks. And he writes several bad checks, starting with getting arrested for, I believe, a $60-something check for car repair is what he gets arrested for. A bad $60 check at this point.
You can't just be like, I'll trade you detailed trade favors for it. You know, like, I'll detail a car instead.
It's fucked. So he gets arrested for that. They end up taking him in, and they find out. He tells them who he really is.
Yeah.
He says, look, and he thinks he's going to get out of the whole thing based on the fact, this is his quote in their own words, quote, I took the Eldorado's where he got caught. Okay. I took the El Dorado detectives into confidence and let them know who I was. I was a guy who had cooperated with several police agencies and the United States government. I figured they'd think, let's not blow his cover with this check charge.
Let's do him a quick favor.
Wrong. No. They instead see this as, we can charge him with a felony.
Yeah.
Because they tie back a bunch of other bad checks from the past, from recently.
So you're a murderer.
All over the place.
We don't do murderers favors.
Yeah, so he thinks that they don't want to blow his cover because he's such a wanted, deep guy. Sammy the Bull was wanted by the Gambino family.
Yeah.
This was like, and they still put him in jail when he dealt ecstasy.
On ecstasy charges.
So
right.
this is not going to work for him. It's fuck, man. They said if he had no record, it would have been a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
But the fact that they could get him with a felony, this is his 3rd strike.
Oh, no.
That's it. They're going to nail him on. They're going to try to get him with the 3rd felony. So, prosecutor Paul Sutherland said, and this is, he says, quote, I think this case really tests the limits of the 3 strikes law. We're going to do everything we can to put him away. It's just unfortunate that the state of Florida couldn't do this. So they want his ass bad, basically. He's in deep...
It's over, sir.
He is in deep shit, man, and he's making excuses too. At this point he starts doing interviews. Also, he says a few things here. He's trying to make excuses for the whole cult business. Let's see here. Quote, Rozier says, quote, it was hammered into us 15, 16 hours a day by men about men being lynched and women being smashed down and babies being torn apart. Isn't that how they train the Marines, by dehumanizing the enemy?
What the fuck?
Yeah, like the Marines, but this isn't the Marines.
Right.
You're in a temple in Miami.
I don't know if they tear babies apart in front of kids at boot camp. Jesus, man, what are you talking about?
He says, let's see here, Nariah Israel is long dead. I don't know how else to explain it, but that person is gone. In other words, I'm good now.
Yeah.
It's the Eddie Johnson getting out of rehab. No, I'm good now. Cocaine. Where's the cocaine? It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. So it ended up being all the checks that they linked. There were 29 other bounce checks for a total of $2,000. So
$2,000.
This is not like he was buying.
No.
Like
He's not
Lenny
Lenny
Dykstra.
Dykstra.
No, he wasn't buying Wayne Gretzky's mansion.
Right. He's
He
not
was
renting a private plane on his assistant's dime.
He got a car repaired.
Right.
He probably got a pizza at one point. Like some plumbing
I'll bet he
supplies and
did.
the sink broke. Like that's what he was doing.
29 checks adding up to $2,000. Those don't even average $100.
His bail for this is set at $10 million.
Holy shit.
You know, because he killed 7 people
Right.
at one point, I would imagine. Rozier said they should have let him go because of his testimony. He didn't understand it. He's
God.
like, I don't understand why I'm in jail right now.
It's
You should
not lifetime, you idiot.
That should be a pass. He watched on The Wire when they gave Omar the get out of jail free card, and he's like, Bunk gave Omar a card. Like, what the fuck,
Where's
man?
mine?
Where's mine? Like, I got the Yahweh people.
Jesus.
He said, quote, Rozier said, quote, the U.S. government says this man has a whole new identity. And El Dorado County says, no, he doesn't. If you have a man with a homicide charge, why spend this much time on a check case? It should have been taken care of a long time ago. Now, he says this about a homicide charge because at this time, he is being investigated by the Essex County in the state of New Jersey for a 1984 homicide of a homeless man.
Yes.
A homeless man named Attilio Cicala. They said they were been investigating this. They said that when Yahweh had a thing going on in Newark, Rozier was up there killing the guy for him as a sacrifice. He's a homeless white guy they just found on the thing. They indict.
You paid with your life, but you may have done us all a big favor.
They indict him, actually, in a co-conspirator in 1999. In 2000, though, they have to drop the charges on this 84 murder. He gets off because they said they had insufficient credible evidence to proceed. They said his suspected accomplice, him and John Armstrong and Rozier, they said they couldn't charge him because some witnesses were dead, some were deported, and some made contradictory statements. So there's no way to nail the whole thing down. So he's fucked on that. Also, too, at this point, authorities in New York City and St. Louis were investigating possible links to other homicides they thought he did everywhere. So this guy said he did 7 because I think that's what he knew could be proved probably. Yeah. And then there might have been a lot more. Like this guy, we don't know how many fucking people this guy killed, but he was an angel of death angel. Yeah, that was his code word or whatever. Right, was what he called himself. Yeah, in the Death Angels. So I mean, this guy, holy shit. And he says about the whole thing. Look, I quote, I am the first to come to grips with what happened. I'm not living in a psychotic world. I'm living in a real world and having to face myself. I have grieved more than any human being can grieve. He's the victim here. Yeah. Poor Robert.
He's calling it.
Poor Robert.
Boo-hoo-hoo.
It's very Lawrence
Phillips. I've grieved so much. And you still keep giving people bad checks.
And he's scared that the Yahwehs are going to kill him. And he says the county has no idea of the Pandora's box they've opened on this whole thing. Which I don't know if that's true because now he was sentenced. Judge Eddie T. Keller said was probably, he says to Eddie, that's his name, the judge's name. Judge Eddie T. Keller says to Robert Rozier as he's sentencing him, this is fucking wonderful because you want somebody to really rub it in at this point.
Turn the knife.
He says to him, it was probably one of the greatest gifts, Mr. Ramses. You were home free of the death penalty, free of those cults, and you went back to committing crimes. Unquote. He said everything short of saying, you dumb fuck.
What have you done to yourself?
Bailiff, kick him in the balls. You, sir, are an asshole. He is sentenced under the third strike law to 25 years to life.
It's over.
Over.
It's done.
Done and done. So he kills 7 people, gets 10 years, writes a minimal amount of bad checks. $2,000, life in prison.
That's it.
Holy shit, this country. You would say it's like
it's like a reverse sentence.
Well, it's almost like you'd say it's what's right and what's wrong with the 3 strikes law at the same time. You're like, a guy shouldn't go to jail for life for writing a $60 car part check that fucking bounced. But at the same time, yes.
10 years for 7, right.
Yeah, so it's
10 years for 7, he shouldn't have gotten that either. So
it's amazing. So, yeah.
It's averaging out right.
Amazing. It's so funny. He was like, I trusted them with my identity. I told them I was Spider-Man. And they were like, we don't care if you're Spider-Man. How's that work?
Unbelievable.
I don't get it. Like, he was just not the brightest guy in the world, basically. And he has been saying how remorseful he is for the killings. And I'm not that guy anymore. I'm a regular guy now.
I'm a bad check.
I'm
passer.
okay.
That's
I passed bad checks. I had problems. The killings was all Yahweh,
Right.
whatever. But he seems like a dude who kind of he seemed to enjoy the killing.
You'd think if you do it once and you don't enjoy it, I can't imagine you're going to do it again.
No.
And he went and did it 6 more times.
No,
so
and he can be led easily because this Yahweh calling. It wasn't like it wasn't like come over here and we party and we have the hot girl. Like they took all their money. They had to pool for like general resources. They homeschooled each other's kids. They had to stop shaving in Miami. You know how hot and humid it is in Miami?
Gross.
Imagine walking around Miami with a big thick beard, a thing on your head, and a long white robe. A big heavy long white robe. It sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
Women couldn't wear hair products. They got black women to put away the hair products. You know the kind of power you have to have over a black woman to tell her what the fuck to do with her hair and have her be like, okay, I'll just let it go.
If you use the relaxer, you're dead, and is that enough?
And they all had to basically like all of them change their name to Israel. That was like the common last name.
Horrible
It's
name.
like we all have to be Israel. None of us can be Pimp as their last name. Like this sucks, man. What a shitty fucking. This is miserable. Like it sounds
worse. Yeah.
It sounds just like everybody's hot and sticky and living in one place. They had like cubicles set up. That's how they lived. Like it was like cubicles. Like they were open so everybody could see everybody.
Yeah.
So it was like sweaty, smell like balls in there.
And they gotta see them.
Oh, just ball sweat.
It's Christian Muslim.
Beard.
That's the worst.
That's
Mixing
basically
too
what they
often.
were.
Ugh.
It was bad. And it's going on in Canada.
Still going.
I don't know how many black people they have in Canada. They might have all of them by
Yeah,
now.
probably,
in the because there's a very limited amount of black people in Canada. But yeah, they were spreading too. In the U.S. at one point, they had over like 300 members in Miami, and then they had them in other cities everywhere.
Newark and
spreading. He was opening up chapters. That's why they were investigating murders, because wherever he went, people would kill people as a sacrifice to him. So insane. That's Robert Rozier, guys.
There it is.
We promised you crazy. That's some murdering.
Yahweh's
crazy.
out there, and Robert is not.
No, Robert's in prison. Like I said, you can hit Yahweh Ben Yahweh up and talk to him. Ask him about it all you want, guys.
Don't mention us, please.
Don't mention us, please. And also, too, who will kill us first? The white supremacist groups that we made fun of, or the black supremacist group that we made fun of? Which one will kill us first? Now this is a race war everyone can embrace. It's a race.
Yeah.
Race to us,
It's a
guys.
race against
Who can
time
kill
to
us
kill
first?
us first.
Yeah, it's okay. But we'll be protected by the Crime and Sports listeners.
Can't wait.
You guys are shielding us. Thank you. Also, to give a shout out to a couple of people. A couple of people that always interact with us, are very cool with us on Twitter, that we'd like to shout out. The one guy,
J-Bird Wedbetter.
J-Bird Wedbetter. That
guy's awesome.
You're awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're always sharing us with people, and we just appreciate it. 'Cause, guys, this is organic. It's like I said, we don't have a big network. We are not like journalists. We're comedians, and we're doing this.
This is grassroots shit.
This is grassroots. We're spreading it through you guys. You guys are the ones helping us spread it. And so if you like it, please keep doing that. Also, to old Storia Sean there. I love that guy, too.
That's his name.
In New York,
Sean, in New York.
And in Queens there. Shout out to you, dude. Thank you so much.
Riding subways and laughing at our horse shit.
We
That's
appreciate
awesome.
it. Seriously, guys. It's awesome. And please join us next week. Next week, we're going to do Ryan Leaf. We were originally going to do it this week, but I'm an idiot and I mixed up the week of the NFL draft. So we're going to do it next week for the NFL draft. We're going to give you the biggest NFL draft bust in history.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like a light, fun one.
Yeah.
He didn't kill anybody, but he's just a complete idiot from start to finish. And there's a lot of crime and dumb shit.
Really fucked up.
It's just, this Ryan Leaf, you can't have the world more by the balls than this guy and just go, nope, don't want it. Nope, just want to be an idiot.
Throw it to the next guy.
So we are going to, get into that next week. And for now, though, please follow us on social media. Twitter is @CrimeandSports. crimeinsports@gmail.com is our email in case you want to hit us up there. And Facebook.com/CrimeandSports.
Yes,
Jimmy,
sir.
you want to give them your handle?
@Whisman sucks, WHISMAN sucks on Twitter and Instagram, and Jimmy Whisman on Facebook, JMMIE Whisman, WHISMAN.
I am @Jimmy P is funny. Jimmy is regular spelling, and James Pietragallo. I don't know if you want to find it on there.
Best of luck.
It's such a long name. Best of luck. Find it through the podcast.
Sphere,
And it's all good. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Very excited to see you again next week.
Can't wait.
Thank you, and we will see you then.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.